Tun Khin, are you going first? So I'd just like to ask Tun Khin to address the audience. Thank you.
First of all, thank you so much to organizers and juries, contributing here for this this discussion today. I would like to express many thanks for all of my friends joining in this event. Actually, I'm a Rohingya. I was born and brought up in Arakan State, western part of Burma, Maungdaw Township. My grandfather was a parliamentary secretary and contributed to build this multi-ethnic country. And 2 generations on, I am not a citizen of Burma because of 1982 citizenship law. When I was in Burma, I have seen many of my friends, when they married secretly, they were sentenced to jail. I have seen with my own eyes my friends who couldn't go to the university, including myself, because we were not recognized as a citizen of Burma. It's a government intention systematically to destroy Rohingya minority group and to get rid of them from the country. So I would like to go for now, as other people may give some more evidence about how they face persecution in Burma. I will go my recent visit to Bangladesh. Refugees were approximately, according to UN, 75,000 Rohingya refugees fled since 9 October because of mass killings, mass raped, and burned alive. All Rohingya men, children were thrown to the fire, and 160,000 Rohingya were starving to death on that time when the government blocked humanitarian aid in Arakan State. So I would like to carry on for now, starting the videos where I met Rohingyas who were fled after 9 October in refugees camp in Bangladesh, Kutupalong and Balukhali. Those are unregistered camps and just new arrival after 9 October. You can see their human misery, how they face persecution, and it's okay, start. Her name is Arafa. She is from Kiari Farang. She fled because of her husband was stabbed to death by military and house was burned down. Her husband was stabbed to death in Kiari Farang. He was taken to the side of the road. At first, he was shot, her husband, and his head was shaking like this. Immediately brought water for him, and 2 military soldiers grabbed her and ordered her to open the chest to offer all the valuables she had. The military took her inside her home, and then they left. She had a small child. That boy was confronted with his father when his father was killed. The boy was killed too. Her home was burned down, her husband was killed, and her parents passed away. If a person dies, he cannot bury it properly. There was a young girl in a home. Due to fear of death, the child stayed with women, and all people came to Naribil. In Narbi, on the side of the river, they thought the military will not kill the little child. They were treated like that. Big houses were burned down. The same thing happened to the mosques and madrasas. We came here 2 months ago. Before 2 months now, many of my relatives are still in Myanmar. They were beaten, told to hold the cars. We told them to come here. If you die, we all die too. And we can pass another one. Yeah, that one. Is it the same one, maybe? Yeah. Her name is Hasina Begum. She is 30 years old and she is from Burashiddafarar. She fled, her houses were burned down and demolished. And she was raped by military. How did you know it was military and they were uniform wear and patrol every houses every day? They wear green clothes. That's why I know 3 military soldiers stood beside me and one kept standing and the other 2. Military did rape her at her home. There were about 8 to 9 women. They raped one by one. My husband went to madrasa for prayer times, and during sunrise, the military beat him and hurt him in the neck. And they raped one by one, and her husband was killed. And can I go another one? Her name is Hasina Begum, 26 years old. She's from Maungdaw village. There was a military in the morning, everyone surprised, and all people were dumbfounded since the day. And the next day they went to Hantifara there, and after 6 to 7 days, again the military came and they demolished. We can jump on another one. Her name is Montaz Begum. She is 40 years old. She is Zamunya village from Maungdaw. She were in Bangladesh before 2 months ago. In her village, the military came and shot to the men, and many men were killed, and some were taken by the military. And I asked what happened to her family. And she said her children's father was killed first in the morning. Military entered to her village. In front of her eyes, her husband was killed. The military wearing the uniform I have seen with my own eyes. And the child was shot. You can see the he was treated in Bangladesh. Still not, the heel is not well. And in her family, their husband was killed, son was shot with the guns. That is the situation. She said, we were severely persecuted. We came here along the bank of the river without drinking and eating. And I asked what happened to other villagers. They say 7 to 10 years old, even they were raped in front of her eyes by military. When I asked how many victims, she said 20 to 80. There is no home was left. In Zambonya village, all houses were burned down to the grace. We can pass another one. She's 30 years old. She's from Maungdaw. The military confiscated her home, her properties. Many of her relatives were killed, some were shot to death. The military entered to their homes and 10 to 20 women were there. The military took 7 women and raped. 2 military soldiers raped them. She was in Bangladesh 3 months for now, on that time when I met her. And we can pass another one. We can go, yeah, this. No, yeah. This is in a camp which is Kutupalong in Bangladesh, near Teknaf, Cox's Bazar area, district. this man said she's from Hatifara village, and they have, his brother was taken away, and he was not seen anymore. The military killed the people from every corner in Karifarang village. They walk over, kick people, and kill them. And I asked them who saw them. They say, in the village, the military. I saw them. I saw the military surrounded our home in the village. What people are trying to escape. The military immediately fired with their guns and killed 8 people. Some people were able to flee and reach on the other side. After crossing the side, the people they were lived there, and I asked how many women were raped, and women were raped in Longdong village and Hatifara village. They raped many women in Longdong village and Hati village. And he saw with his own eyes elderly man's head was smashed. When the military was taking the girl, she grabbed her father and the military hit him in his head. Okay, we go another one. These are the people who fled, and they just sitting down there, and I was able to get their testimony, how they... And I asked one man, his name is Isuf, he's from Hati village. And he's 80 years old. He said, my elderly brother was killed and many elderly men were burnt alive. The military put a fence in our home. I was inside. And young man was flight. And I ran suddenly, a bullet passed by my ear. And I escaped. One of my friends did not run. He said, they will shoot elderly men. He said, he stayed there later and buried him. He was killed, his friend. Another preacher, he is from Zamboina village. His name is Ahmad. He's 37 years old. He came there before 3 months ago after October. My house was burnt, and my father and my elderly brother was inside. They were burnt alive. That was he said. And another man, Abdul Jabbar, his age was 58 years old. And I asked, what happened to your family members? He said, in my family, my father, my elderly brother, my paternal cousin, and my nephew were killed. What happened to those 4 people? I asked them. I asked that man. And they were burned alive inside their home. And I asked, when did this happen? Happened 12 November 2016 on Saturday. And I asked neighbor nearby there what happened. What the military do? They say 5 people were burned alive in the same morning, 4 from family, 1 from other family. And what is the name of your paternal cousin, Ayar Sultan Ahmad? And he was 60 years old. Other one is Arakan, and he was 55 years old. And I asked them with that group, how many people you all think are in these attacks? They say at least 1,000 people been killed by Burmese military forces since 9 October. In Zambonya village, 156 houses were set on fire, 11 women were raped. That's what they said. In Zambonya, one village, they say 50 people were killed in front of their eyes, where these people are sitting around with me. They were new arrival, and they fled, and they're giving me that testimony. And on that village, how many girls were raped? They say 7 girls were taken by the military to the forest. They were not killed, they came back. And can we go? Maybe. It's a bit slow down the voice so we have more. Oh, yeah, next. How long we have? I have more? 5 more minutes. Yeah. Maybe a little bit further. Okay. Yeah, go. Yeah, go further, further. Move ahead. Yeah, move. There is some women. Yeah, there. A bit more further. Yeah, yeah, a bit, yeah. After this, yeah, start here. Sound. Yeah, more. Yeah, louder. Maximum, yeah. This one. A bit more. His name is Azizul Mustafa. This guy was 23 years old, and he's from Gozirbil in Maungdaw. He was this rocket launcher when military in 12 November, they attacked their village, and this was happened to him. On November 12, he was returning to his home from the madrasa, which is religious school, and he was quite carefully going even there. The military is launching the attacks, and from helicopter, this was the rocket launchers. They pushed them. They put the. And I think we'll do another one. Yeah. They are from Zamboina village. On 12 November 9 a.m. military surrounded them, and Friday and Saturday they took all their girls, all the girls from the village. Some shot to them, and some houses were burned down. At that time, these women were locked, and some unmarried girls, when they tried to stop them from the military to rape, and some men were arrested, some were shot. And they tried very hard to stop women were not to force by military to get raped. And some women were forced to sit outside their homes under the sunlight. They say, we could see the fire burning on our homes. We do not know if these girls are alive, burnt or taken anywhere. 6 out of 11 reached there. And one of 6 who made it here, and she mentioned, I had 16-year-old girl, and she ran to the forest due to fear of gunshot. Unfortunately, she was shot. We somehow made it to Kiari village. We were there for 15 days. We could not even have a meal for 3 days. No one allowed her to stay there. There were not even a place to stay. On 12 November, entire houses were burned down in Kiari Farang village. An elderly man, he was the father of this man there, the other man there. They gathered them in the fields. They separated us into 2 groups. One group of men, another group of women. 53 people were killed with a short knife in their necks. And I asked, who witnessed this? Every one of us witnessed this. There were about 200 to 300 women. We all saw it. We were not allowed to see in that way. We were screaming, and they changed our direction of sitting. Their clothes were put off. Their hands were tied in the back. 53 people out of 100 to 150 were killed in this way. The remaining ones' fates were unknown, and we were not there. We can stop now. And this is the one day, a whole day busy to the camps I have passed through in my life, the human misery, how they've been persecuted, how their loved ones were killed and burned alive. That is what I learned during my visit to the camps when they give me a testimony. So finally, what I want to say is, my father died in Rangoon a week ago. It devastated me, a loved son, but I am far more devastated to hear the first-hand witness of these people. In my own Rohingya language, a group of fresh arrivals from northern Arakan, Maungdaw, their harrowing tale of rapes, slaughtered, burning elderly people and babies alive. slitting throats of your girls in front of their mothers by Myanmar government troops and local ultra-racists. I call on the panel of jury, this important People's Tribunal, to look carefully at the numerous forms of the most heinous crimes against poor, faceless, innocent, and unarmed Rohingya, deliberate Myanmar state crimes against my ethnic group of Rohingya. The voices of faceless Rohingya villagers who were being tortured, starved, and destroyed by the Burmese need to be heard. The memories of the fallen victims need to be honored. Thank you very much for your human solidarity and compassion.
Thank you very much, Tun Khin, and we're very sorry for your loss. What I propose we do now is that you come back and the panel ask you a few questions. And if our Rohingya blogger friends are comfortable, we will move your slot till after lunch, because then you will have more time, it won't be rushed. We have a longer session for testimony this afternoon, and I think you should be entitled to give the depth of your presentation. So I hope everybody's comfortable with that. And now we'll have a few moments for questioning of Tun Khin by the panel, and then we will adjourn for lunch at 1:30. Thank you.
Okay,
Daniel?
Thank you, Tun Khin, for your strong presentation. And I have some questions just to clarify some facts. Yeah. So, first of all, the interviews were taken just in one camp, or if you can let us know in the name of the camps and where they're located. I understood all of them are in Bangladesh. So,
actually, the interviews were taken randomly, and I visited two camps. One is Kutupalong camp, one is Balukhali camp. And there is, as some of you know, there is unregistered Rohingya refugees about 400,000. So I couldn't go there. So I just visited at least 75,000 who were new arrivals after 9 October attacks. So as far as when I found that Kutupalong camp, there is about 15 to 20,000, and Balukhali there is about 20,000 approximately. So no one knows exactly how many people. So I couldn't go much. I just met I just randomly to see whoever I met who were raped and who were, attacks, and where had their loved ones were killed by military. Just on the way to camps I met, and some people I just met them. And for the security reason, we can't ask longer conversation we can't have in a camp. So I brought them in hotels, some of people. So I just interviewed them randomly.
okay, and when have you taken the interviews? When it was your trip?
It was on 18 to 21st of February. Sorry, 19 to 22nd of February. On 3 days.
Okay. And how many interviews have you taken? Because we have seen just...
I have taken about more than 30 interviews, 30 victims. Some were mixed up because the nature, their desperation when they want to explain how they suffered. And so some people are giving longer conversations, some are very short. My brother was killed, my daughter was raped, and I've seen, and just 2, 3, some are short, some are very long. So it's totally about more than 30 interviews I have been taken.
Okay, so we will thank you if you can share the whole interviews.
Yeah, I am happy to do that. I have all videos here, and I can give you the also translation, everything. It's my own Rohingya language. I have did them. It's just randomly. There is many more victims, uncountable victims you can find out. Unfortunately, security reason, because we can't ask much more. We can't get through more investigation there. So because of government, some problems. So I would be happy if I could do like a few weeks. I could stay and could get a kind of horrible history in 21st century. You can find out how human misery they've been faced in northern Arakan state.
Okay, thank you very much for
Thank
the
you.
important work here.
Thank you so much.
I don't know if it was...
Could you perhaps just explain the status of the Rohingya refugees in Bangladesh? What's their future? What's their present? What's their expectation? What's next, so to speak, for these people?
This is a good question, as everyone is, concerned about this. These people, some of them were forced back when they fled from the country, when their daughters were raped, son was killed, and by military, and some people were forced back, pushed back. But still, there is the other way. They come around and they sneakily came to Bangladesh camps, and as far as what I've seen, some people, they didn't have food even in the camps for 2 days, 3 days. Some people, they told me, I do not have food for this lunch. And they begging some money even, This is the situation. And for tomorrow, we don't know. And some people, they just shelter it. And the condition is really, really squalid camps and really bad. So I think this is really important, that the protection of these people, in our country, we are facing crime against humanity and genocide in our own native land. The other side, we, the people, these Rohingya people in camps, they are not, there is no protection for them. That is, future is very blinking. So I think international institutions and international community have to come forward to.
But both the World Food Programme and the High Commission for Refugees,
World Food
they're
Programme,
all represented in Bangladesh.
UNHCRs are there.
They're not reaching out to these.
They're reaching out, but still there is not enough. We appreciate what UNHCR have been doing a great work, and some restriction by the Bangladesh governments are there, the other side. So, what I want to say is, like, when you look at as a whole Rohingya population, including these people now who are new arrivals, like 1.5 million Rohingya have been left out, fled from the country because of persecution. 1.5 million approximately. So, even the other side, the government is successing their policy, destroying this community in the native land. The other side, when they get out, there is culturally, their education, they are quite worrying the future. So this population will be a kind of, in future, quite, their life is totally blinking in future. So we are in emergency crisis, I should say, the Rohingya people, because the government, if you look at from the top to bottom as a consequence, like after independence, Rohingya have their own identity, recognized as an ethnic group. If you look at a short consequence, like since 1962, General Lee power, he stripped of ethnic rights, and after 1978, King Dragon operation, refugees were repatriated back from Bangladesh, and then government step up another one to make them stateless by introducing 82 law. Because of that law, I'm not a citizen of Burma, even though my grandfather was a parliamentary secretary, So like me, 1.3 million Rohingyas are facing this persecution today in Burma. So, yeah. So, and then they, after introduced this 82 law, they impose restriction on movement. They impose restriction on marriage. They import restriction on education. And they confiscate their lands. And that is until 1995. In 2010, when so-called democracy and open up came to Burma, anti-Rohingya campaign were started. And because of that, as a result, large scale of violence again by a state-organized ethnic state-organized violence occurred in 2012. 140,000 Rohingya become internally displaced people. And then what they block in the aid. And if you look at 2015 election, Rohingya were not able to vote and not able to be a member of parliament. So, and 2016, this is largest stage of crime against humanity or genocide to eliminate. So if you look, map up the whole Rohingya issue, first the strip of citizenship, ethnic right and citizenship, and restriction of movement, marriage, education, and then the anti-Rohingya campaign were, instigated and burned down their houses and pushing them to the camps and then blocking the aid. And the government is saying whether you want to live without food in these camps or you live from the country. This is the final target. So we are end of this end of the stage of genocide. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions from the panel? Right, well, thank you very much, Tun Khin. And